We want to make sure that what is being done is not just an efficient way for us to deliver services. It also is a way that we impact the lives of people who live in our community. We needed to work with the community to clearly understand what their needs were, not just trying to create a program, but actually to understand what the needs of the community were, and as a service provider, to help provide those services.
Today was a gathering of staff that has contract responsibilities. They either do outreach to the community, contracting community, and or write contracts. And it really was bringing staff together to try to give them some ideas of what we need to do to engage the contracting community.
My name is Rosanna Mulcahy. I work for the City of Asheville Business Inclusion Office. I work with communities who have historically been excluded from purchasing and contracting with the city. I need data to show the results that I'm getting, if I'm getting any, or if I'm stagnant. We realized that we couldn't get the data without the correct communication externally.
Part of what GovEx is supporting is not only data practices, but also building up a capacity within the organization, specifically related to community engagement.
We know that we have contractors out there that want to work with the city and that provide services that we could make use of, and yet we don't feel like they're sometimes represented as they should be. And what we need to do is to reach out, develop those relationships, understand how we can be more inclusive and build the trust and have people understand that there is opportunity for them.
One of the most important things that GovEx did for us is give us a new paradigm for communication. Not only that, this idea of regular communication, going to see people where they live, I think those things will stick with us for a long time.
We have numerous disparity studies that demonstrate that we have not had as stellar a reputation of recruiting women and minority-owned businesses. We do better with women-owned businesses than we do with Black and brown businesses.
If you don't know how to work with the city, and it takes you 10 hours to work with the city, and you've got to do all this research, you're not going to do it. And the city is one of the bigger spenders in the region. And what that means to you as a small business owner is that you're not going to the city. You're bypassing one of the biggest pots of money that's available in our region. We don't want that. We want that pot of money to be available to as many people as possible because, again, it's about economic mobility.
I'm a part of the Mountain Business Equity Initiative. Our mission and goal is to strive toward equity through education, empowerment, and economic mobility. I was brought on as a community facilitator to facilitate this program and project with the Business Inclusion Office. There are a lot of ups and downs that we go through as entrepreneurs, and those barriers can be compounded by what we already face due to racism. Our need and our desire is to address both and to make it more accessible for people in our community who have a lot of amazing value to add but just haven't had a pathway to do that.
If you look at economic mobility, it's basically moving from one economic status to another economic status. If you look at the paradigm that's happening here in Asheville, for instance, with individuals, there is something that is called the benefits cliff. The benefits cliff is basically if I'm receiving some benefits and then I go and get a job, then with that job, it does not pay me enough to completely pay my bills, but it pays me enough for me to get off the benefits, but then people decide to get back on the benefits. But what the missing component in that is entrepreneurship. And so therefore what we want to do is educate people on how, entrepreneurship and inclusiveness or even inequity can help to bridge that gap.
A big part of it is It can be very lonely to be a business owner, and it can be very challenging and hard. And until you're sitting across the table, sitting with another peer, having conversations and asking them questions, sometimes you don't realize what you're experiencing as part of the process.
If we can get these businesses where they're able to hire 3 or 4 or 5 individuals, it can actually decrease the unemployment rate in Asheville. Also, what it can do is it helps decrease the poverty rate. It starts lifting people out of poverty once they're able to make gainful employment to stop a lot of those ills, gentrification, poverty, low health care, because people now are being able to put more money inside of their community. They're able to invest that money that they're making, and it can start rotating inside of that community.
Asheville once had a very rich business community here, and we want to restore that. We want to build that back. We're a growing city. I mean, there's millions of dollars being poured. You can see it every day with the metal dinosaurs building new structures, tearing down old. It's like all this growth is happening, but we missing a segment of the population that historically been marginalized. I think if we got that much economic growth going on, that we should be in position to lift those parts up that we have forgotten.
Economic mobility for minorities is important because what it does is it adds value. It builds up self-esteem. It gives an infrastructure to character. But when you have economic mobility, then that builds up that person's infrastructure to be able to pour more into the city that they're actually living in, not just the community, but the city, and that person feels a part of that city.
The city of Asheville has a very strong data system. But really what was going to take this engagement to the next level was doing very targeted community engagement and community outreach. The first step is allowing certain voices to be in a space where you can hear what have truly been their barriers and what are the needs. It's a two-way relationship. I'm hearing from you, but I'm also giving back.
We heard from people that they really needed like mentors. They needed to be able to work with someone hands-on. They could pick up the phone when they encounter an issue and get advice.
We don't have a history of culture of supporting minority businesses to be in position to take advantage of the growth.
So when we have vulnerable populations who are starting new businesses, they don't have big money. They don't have a big war chest to do marketing, to deal with onerous regulations. They've got to be very smart with how they use their time, because oftentimes they're only working a new business part-time. They might have a 40-hour-a-week job.
What we're coming in to do is to be a bridge for the city, to the city of Asheville's individuals, to make sure that whatever the city has, that the people will know.
We needed support, and Lauren Ellen, who specializes on community engagement trainings, was brought in to take us through that process. What type of uncomfortable discussions truly need to be had, and how do folks also get in a space of being uncomfortable in order to then become comfortable?
Being together today, for me, is a huge success. Organizationally, we find that sometimes it's hard to have a conversation. Lauren Ellen went into this afternoon, that relationship building and understanding the history of how the community has been treated, some of the experiences that have happened over time. Being able to pull together and establish an internal relationship that allows us to understand where we're at and how we need to work together is a tremendous internal success.
After the training, I had all these emails from people saying, hey, my office does this, can we engage doing this, can we engage doing that? And I'm holding people to those emails. If I'm able to gain the community trust, that gives me a little bit of hope. This work is a process, it's going to evolve, change, and progress.
Working with GovEx and the staff has been extremely rewarding. The progress that I've made with GovEx has been significant, but this is a marathon. Data doesn't make decisions. It informs. We will make the decision in collaboration with the community.
True success is going to take time. It's not something that's going to happen in the next 6 months. It's not something that's going to happen in the next year or even 2 or 5 years. It requires all hands on deck, not just within the Business Inclusion Office, but all departments, to be able to make sure that we are going in the right direction so that in another 10, 15, 20 years, there's not another disparity study that shows that we are in the same place.
We will learn, we will stumble, we will fall, but we're going to get back up and we're going to make a difference.